Hello there, it's David Taylor back with another video blog. We're into March now, and although it's a cloudy day today, we've had quite a lot of sunny days, and now that we're into that March and that early spring period, the temperatures in the glasshouse are really starting to warm up and the plants are responding. Certainly the younger plants, such as these sort of young angels here, for instance, are really putting on a lot of growth over the last few weeks as the light levels have really begun to increase. The plants that have been stocked for show work are obviously now in that period of just beginning to build growth through to break new stems. So I do need to always be a little bit more careful about how I water the stocked plants. But the smaller growing plants that I'll perhaps use for show work next year, I've got a number of these up to 4.5-inch pots now over the last couple of weeks, and they grow on nicely now to make show plants for next year. They'll be potted on probably in about over the summer at some stage for show work next year, as I've said. What I've also done is cut back and put the trellising up for my large Angel Eyes orange tub to grow up, and we'll just have a look at that now. Right, now we can see what we've done here. I've thinned this out even more now. I've put up the side, this is just willow, sort of tight willow trellising, and I've tied this up to this block of the glass house here, and I'll tie them in as they grow, and we'll see hopefully it put on some growth during the spring and coming summer. Now some of these stems are a good sort of, I don't know, 5-6 mil or a good 1/4 inch in old money. And I've cut out anything that's thin. All of the thinner stems I've cut out, and I've just rubbed out any growth, any sort of side shoot growth, because I want all the strength of the plant now to grow up onto these shoots that are at the top of these stems. Because there's not a massive amount of green growth on there at the moment, it is tricky just getting the watering right. One of the problems that we can have at this time of year with varying temperatures, because of the difference in the sunlight that we get, it can make watering difficult. So I am very much keeping that on the dry side. I mean, it is growing through quite nicely, but I certainly don't want to overwater it before there's too much growth on there. It is in a very, very well drained compost, so I'm not overly concerned. And then I'll continue to water it a bit more as the time continues and the days get warmer. Now, something else that I've been doing is potting up some of my bigger tubs, and because they've been growing on really strongly. In fact, I haven't needed to stop these because they're a relatively compact growing regal, and they're actually just beginning to throw some bud. But I'll leave those, I'll let those grow. I did have a bit of a gap, so I've actually stuck a young plant in the base here. So that's going to make that hopefully become a nice full round plant. It used to just be a double tub. But I potted that into an even bigger pot, and that'll hopefully make a fantastic display for outside. I've got a nice sort of east facing wall along the side of this glass house. And that'll make a good sort of relatively sheltered spot that will just get sunshine in the morning, which is ideal for regal plants, big tubs of regals. Now, I spoke in a previous video about the reddening of the leaves, and this is something which really does happen a lot at this time of year. It's that varying temperatures, so the plants do come under a little bit of stress. I do tend to find that it affects the stellas more than most of the others. Some of the dwarf zonals as well can be affected by it. And this standard here, this is a standard of a plant called Bold Princess. I haven't actually done anything with this. I haven't stopped this or cut this back. I haven't quite decided whether I'm just going to let this grow for now. But this is suffering very much from the reddening leaves, and I'll just home in on that and show you. I wonder, this is over on the if you like, the south side of the glass house. I haven't done any videos from round this way before. So this probably gets really quite warm during the day, but at the night, of course, it's still relatively cool. But this is the sort of thing that could happen. I'm not too worried about it. There's a lot of good growth coming out from the main stems, and what will happen is I'll just gradually break some of these off as the time goes on, and it'll even out. Once the day temperatures begin to even out, this effect will wear off. But I do tend to find at this time of year that it affects particularly dwarf zonals and any of the stellar group. They in particular seem to suffer more from that type of condition. We'll perhaps have a look at potting some baskets towards the end of the month, or maybe into early April, which is when I tend to do mine. So we'll have a look at those at a slightly later stage. So that's all for now, and I'll see you perhaps a little bit later in the month when we'll start looking at some of the other tasks that you can be doing at this spring time of year.